All right. Peace and greetings, YouTubers. Amy Cooper. Real talk, you can keep that apology. I'm good on that over here. Like, real talk, here's anti-blackness and white apologies. Here's me. I'm on this island over here. It's an island, and then in addition, boom, there's a wall around the island. There's a fort. There's a dome. And then there's even like a satellite that orbits around. And it's just, I'm over here. Keep that apology over there. Don't bring it by me. Because really, I just recognize the fact that you keep seeing the same pattern in these instances where there's somebody that uses their whiteness as a weapon against somebody who's black. And so in Amy's case, we've seen this so many times with all of the other people who have gotten a fun little nickname because they did something racist and it went viral. I don't have time for Amy. In my opinion, Amy is only apologizing because she is trying to save herself. And when I say herself, I'm talking about her livelihood as far as her career and everything that she loves. Because now that it has been exposed of what kind of person she is, she doesn't like that image she has. It's not about what she did. She could care less about that part. She's only apologizing because the smoke came to her front door. And now all of a sudden people put the burden on black people or whoever to give her that forgiveness. That burden is not coming to my doorstep because I'm over here. Keep it over there. And so I'm just like, you know what? Keep it. Long story short, for those who haven't seen, there's been a viral video that has pretty much spread all over. And it's a video of a black man and a white woman at Central Park. There's this area called the Ramble where there's lots of wildlife, lots of birds and chipmunks and squirrels and everything like that. Really popular site for people who really love animals or who feel that they are one with nature. And so Amy is over there with her dog, and the dog is not on a leash. There's a sign that says, please keep the dogs on leashes, mainly because dogs can get very inquisitive and, you know, they like to go and chase anything that moves that's not another dog. And so pretty much Christian Cooper, the other guy, that's the black man, he pretty much says, hey, can you put the dog on a leash? And from what I read, he also offered the dog a treat. That's kind of his way of kind of freaking people out so they'll get off of that area when it comes to people being there without dogs on leashes. Because I guess he was a bird watcher. That was his thing. He liked to go and watch the birds. He liked to stand there and see the chick, 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 chick. That was his thing. And so he figured, I guess since he's always there, his trick was give somebody or offer them a dog treat. It may freak them out and then they leave. And so it freaks Amy out into another aspect where now all of a sudden she's pissed off because he pretty much told her what to do. And really that's the conversation. I'll get to that in a second, but it leads me to my question because I want to read the apology. Long story short, they get into some confrontation. She pretty much pulls out her phone because he's recording her at the same time. And she says, well, I'm going to call the police and tell them that an African-American man is threatening my life, which has nothing to do with a dog being on a leash, which has nothing to do with somebody offering somebody's dog a treat. It has everything to do with white people using their race as a weapon, specifically white women. And so here was the apology. I sincerely and humbly apologize to everyone, especially to that man, his family. It was unacceptable, and I humbly and fully apologize to everyone who's seen that video. Everyone that's been offended, everyone who thinks of me in a lower light, and I do understand why they do. I'm glad you do. When I think about the police, I'm such a blessed person. I've come to realize, especially today, that I think of the police as a protection agency. And unfortunately, this has caused me to realize that there are so many people in the country that don't have that luxury, she added. And so what I find so funny is that people can go and do all the wrong things and create all of the offenses like on site all the time, do all the wrong things. But the minute that fire comes to that front door, they have all the right things to say immediately. That's why I'm like, really, you already knew what you were doing. So when people try to pull that, I didn't know, but I've seen the light. It all makes sense now. 5 hours later, I figured it all out. I understand how systematic oppression and racism in this country works. I apologize. Really what it is, you already knew all of that. You've just been using your privilege to stay ignorant, because that's one of the things that a lot of white people in this country can do. They have the privilege of keeping the privilege to be ignorant and be naive to whatever is really happening. So in their reality, in their perspective, they get to walk around and be dumb and unenlightened all day and get rewarded for it and become vice president of corporations and companies. On the flip side, when the tables are turning when it's black folks, no matter what black folks do, we have to be in the know, we have to be enlightened, we have to be geniuses, because anything that happens to us will always be our fault, no matter what. Literally, if a black person was sleeping in their bed and I don't know, there was a helicopter that crashed and the propeller crashed and flew into the window and slit that person's head off, somebody would still have something to say. Well, they should have been sleeping in the fetal position. They should have slept on this side of the bed. You know that there's helicopters that fly all over. Why wasn't your bedroom set up in a way where the window was helicopter proof? You know what I mean? Like, that's literally the verbiage that comes out. And so I'm good on Amy. She can keep that apology, because really, I take apologies more seriously when people apologize before the fire comes. Prime example, one time, one of my good friends that I used to have a web series with One time we were just not feeling each other at all. And so we were both kind of on that edge where all it took was one person to say something and the other was going to go off. And so they had said something to me in the car. I don't even remember what it was. It wasn't anything bad, but I had already been sitting on everything I was mad about earlier. So I just blew up and said something out of pocket to them. And then like 5 seconds later, I was like, you know what? That was really effed up. And so then I was like, you know what, I'm sorry, my bad, blah, 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 blah. And I gave my apology. Even before they could even respond. They didn't even get an opportunity to get mad because I was already apologizing because I recognized, wait, that wasn't right. Okay, my question would be, how would they have taken my apology had I waited until they cussed me out about what I had just said to them? And so that's kind of the same thing. So when you're looking at somebody like Amy, the minute that she opened her mouth to say, I'm going to call the police and let them know that an African American, 7 syllables, male is threatening my life, she knew right then and there all of the ins and outs when it comes to systematic racism and the history of the United States and what happens to black people when white people use the police as a weapon. There was also a popular blogger and YouTuber and community activist, the guy Zelly. He had a great tweet the other day where he was talking about how a lot of white women use the police like customer service. I was like, that's actually, I see it that way. Like, it's like literally the fact that you are so privileged enough to, one, be in violation of a law, get mad because somebody calls you out on being in that violation, and then you decide to call the law to come and regulate them because you've been inconvenienced even though you're the one in the wrong, and you recognize that you have that much privilege in your corner that you just may be able to get your way and that person will have to suffer. And my question for Amy was, what did you really want to happen if the police were to arrive? What was going to happen? Were you going to let them beat them up a little bit and then say, okay, all right, that's enough, guys, I feel safe now? Like, how does that work? And so for me, it's just like, I'm good with these apologies. I can't do it. I can't. Like, y'all keep doing the same nonsense all the time. And you can't sit here and pretend that you weren't in the know about, how race in America works, especially if you're living in New York of all places, one of the most diverse cities in the country that also has a really huge issue with race and police. Like, you can't sit here and be that naive. So I'm good on that. Really with Amy, it's the issue of a lot of white people do not like being told what to do, especially if it's coming from somebody who they feel is beneath them, i.e. somebody black. Okay, that literally set her off because for her, it's like, who do you think you are? Do you know who I am? And again, going back with the apology, she's doing the apology now because she comes off as racist to the masses. And I don't care what you say, one of the worst things you can call a white person to their face is racist. They do not like to be called that crap. They can literally be in the Klan outfit and still get pissed off. How dare you? How dare you? Like, that's, for some reason, it's like the biggest insult you can call a white person is call them racist. That just sets them off. She doesn't want that kind of image, especially because after she lost her job and Franklin Templeton said, yeah, we don't tolerate racism, she's really like losing her stuff because now she's like, that's not even what I meant. And then it goes back to the conversation of the fact that racism has so many layers, and a lot of people, again, only associate it with the Klan and hoses and lynching, but you recognize that racism is an active system. It's just not feelings, and it's just not how you feel. It's how you participate in that system. And she knew what she was doing, she knew what her role was, and she actively participated. She was willing to call the police, and the other part is even the inflections in her voice.
And there is a man, African American, he has a bicycle helmet. He is recording me and threatening me and my dog. There is an African American man, I am in Central Park. He is recording me and threatening myself and my dog. And I'm sorry, I can't hear you either. I'm being threatened by a man in the ramble. Please send the cops immediately. I'm in Central Park in the ramble. I don't know.
Thank you.
How you watched her go from being all big and bad, even walking up to the dude where he tells her, don't walk up on me, stay back. And she gets back on the phone and, oh my God, can you send help? I don't know, I'm starting my life. We're good over here. We're good. She knew what she was doing. Like, again, we're not going to go down the list of all of the black people who have died in the name of white women being afraid. Like, we're not even going to go through that list because we've been through it so many times. But again, it's just like, I don't know what to tell you. And again, that ego and pride gets in the way. Because even with him pulling out a camera, she is on camera and recognizes that, hey, this could be something that goes viral. She's in the moment. She doesn't care. Because that power of being privileged and that power of recognizing that a system will always work in your corner overtakes logic. So even with somebody putting a camera on them and you're clearly doing something just out of pocket and being racist and pretty much making up a scenario just so the possibility of the police coming in pretty much strong-arming this guy so you can have your way and be on your merry way, the fact that you still don't even like say, you know what, wait a minute, I'm tripping. The fact that he pulled out a camera on you and you still played into this role, that's on you. So the apology you can keep. I'm good. I'm good on it. You know what I mean? Like, I just, I'm like, you done lost a dog. And then the funny bit, you saw her, the dog done halfway died. She's so busy yanking and choking the dog because she wants to be in the right. That's the other funny part with all of it. All she had to do was just put a leash on the dog. That was it. All of this could have been avoided. But again, ego and pride. And the fact that, you know, she'll sit there and hold the dog by the collar and let the dog get all choked up. I'm like, you're willing to choke, and let's say the dog died. You know, you were willing to let your dog die, all in the name of being right. Being right because you didn't like the fact that somebody black told you what to do. How dare you? How dare you? That's the mindset. And so you done lost the dog because they done took the dog back. You've lost your job, which they're going to give her, like, people were saying they're being too harsh on her. They're not, because one, she had some top tier jobs. She'll be employed in like a month. She'll be fine. Plus, in all reality, you done had 38 million people lose their jobs in the last month. She can get in line with everybody else. She'll be all right. Since she's one of the people, she can see what it feels like. And so, yeah, and then apparently she's also possibly getting banned from the park. See what happens when that ego and pride gets in the way, and then you let the racism jump into, and then you try to weaponize your race and your gender against a black man in a country that already has a system that works against black men. We just saw what happened in Minneapolis, right? You saw that craziness. I'll talk about that on another video or on the next live, which is on Thursday. But like, foolery all around. So Amy, keep that apology. I'm good, because you know it would have been different had Amy apologized before this even went viral. Even if she apologized in the video and said, you know what, wait, I'm tripping. I'm sorry. You know what? You're right. Let me put the dog on my leash. I'm going my way. And I'm talking about all this before she called the police. I ain't talking about the police crap, because once she called the police, she knew what she was doing. All right, you pretty much activated the racist brigade to show up and go and clean house. So Amy, keep that apology. I don't know what to tell you, and. We'll see, watch. There's going to be like a sympathy parade for her. They're going to let her go on all the talk shows and everything. She'll probably get a Lifetime movie in like 5 years. And, you know, she might probably work at the next chapter of the NAACP. They'll give her a position. But anyway, let me quit playing. I'm off. Subscribe.